Yeah, oh, that's nice. That's so
Oh,
crisp.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MetaDating episode 6. Yes, I nailed it. Hi, I'm Sean Plott.
And I'm Bill Grainer.
And I'm on mute. I'm Sean Bouchard.
And it's time to step into part 2 of our exploration of the game Katawa Shoujo here on MetaDating, the show where we explore how video games depict romance, how it explores romance, what mechanics it provides to people in the dating environment when suddenly you give the person a keyboard, mouse, and a controller instead of normal talking. We've done a little bit of Japanese sim, the first MetaDating, when we looked at Hatoful Boyfriend. And we are now doing our second playthrough of one of the most critically acclaimed of the Japanese dating novels of recent times, called Katawa Shoujo, which is where the main character, Hiseo, played by us in this circumstance, is put into a school for people with disabilities. And despite this really sensitive setting, the game does an amazingly delicate and sensitive job of dealing with the setting. Really excellent game. It's all free. You can download it. So we encourage you, wonderful viewers, to go ahead and play through the game. And, of course, feel free to ask questions in the chat and talk to one another about it there. But also, it was an interesting experience for myself, Sean, and Bill, because we played the first 90 minutes of it in episode 5. And now we have all played through the first act. I think Sean Bouchard has played through the first 2 acts, where we have now gone through a lot of different branching narratives, and here we're going to be replaying, we're going to be resuming one of said playthroughs as we continue to explore the game. So I just want to go ahead and throw it straight on over to Bill. Bill, would you be so kind as to tell me what happened with you when you ended up playing through?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll say physically, I ended up sitting in my chair for several hours and sort of leaning at, and I looked like this, and I used the space bar to advance, and I got into sort of, like a sort of, God, I want to say fugue state, but that's not what fugue states are. Those are really cool. They should look them up. But just sort of a, one of those hypnotic states of reading and reading and reading. And then once every, God, what, like half hour, I would have a choice. And I did sort of choose mentally who I wanted to go for out of the, panoply of women that was virtually, dumped onto my desk. But I ended up with somebody else, which I thought was really funny. So this is not even like a choose your own adventure. This is like a novel that writes itself, sort of behind the scenes, I think. But I was pretty interested. I got into the whole story. I really enjoyed the arc leading up to the festival, and that also reminded me of Hatoful Boyfriend, which I think we should talk about later. Like the comparisons that game actually seems a lot funnier now to me, having played another one of these. Yeah, I mean, that's just off the top of my head. That's just kind of it. But I did get really into the characters and stuff. I mean, there's something, I mean, and of course there's sort of there's a guilty pleasure too, of course. It's, it's a dating sim. It's like, it's a world where every girl you meet is like flirting with you. And so it's just like, oh, right. I wish my life was like this, So, yeah, I think that's about it.
And Sean, of course, I wanted to ask, what, like, briefly was your experience like playing through the game, like, in one sitting, isolated?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting. I mean, we talked a lot last time about the production value and the quality of the writing of this game, and both of those are consistently high. It's really pleasant to play. And it's an interesting experience for me as somebody who's played a couple games like this, but isn't really invested in the visual novel genre as much as other genres. And there was a lot of really interesting stuff. Kind of going off of Bill's last point, I mean, I honestly had a hard time with Hisao, with the main character.
I found that his name is pronounced Hiseo.
Hiseo?
Hiseo.
Okay.
I know. Is that not the most guilt-inducing thing ever? When I saw someone post that, I was like, Oh my god! Because like we were all like role playing part one, doing voices. We were like really into it. And
I just assume that I'm getting the Japanese all wrong. So,
Sure.
you know, but so I mean, okay, I'm a role player. I mean, as a gamer, I identify as a role player. I like to play a role when I play games. And so this kind of a dating sim, I find really kind of an interesting, problematic dilemma because there's a part of me that wants to pursue the girls that I find the most attractive personally, but I almost always end up pursuing girls that I think the main character would find the most attractive. I end up playing that role and trying to get inside the head of Hiseo. He's tricky, man, because
passive person, okay, so I was I got the chance to speak a little bit to one of the fine viewers of the show, Lord Matsu, about the Japanese dating sim genre a little bit beforehand, and it's interesting that in a lot of Western games, it tries to almost have the main character be vacuous, like just empty. Like a lot of the old JRPGs did this, where the main character would literally say ... every time it was inquired anything. And even more recently, you get a game like Mass Effect or Walking Dead, which has a lot of interesting narrative moments, but it's like whatever you want to do, you get to choose, and it's totally that way. But weirdly, those games tend to just still kind of shove you down a rail. Like Mass Effect, Walking Dead, if you replay through as a nice character, replay through as an evil character, you still get drawn along the same dialogue, the same train of events. Whereas in Katawa Shoujo, you have this character, and like no matter what your choices are, it bludgeons you into being this passive person I hate. I like everyone in the game except for me, which was hard. But also, when you make decisions, I can sense that I'm actually steering it towards like a vastly different area. It's not like a lot of Western games also have like the scale. All decisions you make boil down to increasing your goodness or decreasing it. And when you go into a town, like the programmatic check is, do you have -50 reputation? Well, I won't trade with you. If it's over 50, then I'll give you a free tomato. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yes, my decisions have meaning. But it's weird to actually be hurled down a path so strongly. You guys have this where you misclick? Did you misclick any decisions?
Yes, no. I totally did.
I got so upset because I was like, I've done nothing for half an hour, and like she asked me something that's like so inane in the grand scheme of things, but like for my character, I was like, no, we want to read the book, don't talk to her, no.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Totally.
What happened to your misclick, Sean?
Actually my misclick ended up not being so bad because I chose that option anyway. I was clicking through the dialogue and I hit the option before I even saw that they were coming up as options, and I freaked out. But it's got that nice feature where you can backtrack in the dialogue.
You can?
Bill.
It's got another nice. So the backtracking I've never seen before. The like auto skip is, I think, a common feature in visual novels. I've seen that several times.
What's auto skip?
This came in really handy when I totally screwed up the first time I played and ended up getting drunk off of a roof and dying.
It's amazing.
Which was pretty great.
Get drunk off a roof.
Yeah. At the end of the first act. So I played through the first act twice, and the second time there's an option in the right-click menu where you can auto-skip, and then any dialogue that you've seen before, it'll just like zoom through.
Oh, cool! So we can actually play this game twice.
Yeah, and the second time, like if you make a different decision, anytime it comes upon dialogue you haven't seen, it'll slow back down.
Oh, cool.
Which is really nice. It lets you sort of speed through the beginning part, which was good, which I did. That was rough though, and I actually found that kind of existentially difficult as a player. I mean, because it says something interesting about the world. So for me, I just I want to get to know everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to make friends.
Sure.
Before I start trying to date one of these girls. And so, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I started going off one way, and then the last minute I changed tack, and I was going off in a different way, and the game recognized that as not pursuing any of the girls hard enough. And so at the end of Act 1, I get super depressed. I get super depressed because I don't have anybody to go to the festival with. I go up onto the roof. I get like totally drunk, blackout drunk, and fall off and die. It's literally not pursuing a girl, not dating a girl by the end of Act 1.
By the end of 1 week.
By the end of 1 week, it kills you. It literally kills you.
Wow.
I found that distressing.
Yeah. That's like you failed the tests.
Well,
failed your testing regimen.
So this is what I want to do. We've been talking a lot about like mechanics and sort of like how it means and the sort of general sense of gaming, but I want to actually get into these characters. Bill, what was your experience of that day? Actually, before I do, I should probably intro to you, wonderful viewer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot your. God, hello. It's so great to have you.
Thank you.
That the game has 6 girls that it places in front of you as possibilities of people to date.
That's life.
Really slowly and in a really kind of clever, organic way. It introduces them one at a time. There's a girl who's always in the library. Let's see. The girl in the library is Hanako. She has a scarred face, and she's ultra, super, mega shy, and you don't quite know why. There's a girl, Lily, who's always trying to take care of Hanako, who is blind, but extremely proper and very good at staying composed. This is amazing that I have like this much of a sense of these characters after playing them.
Yeah, it's good comprehension.
There's Misha and Shizune, who...
Or is it Shizune?
It's...
I think it...
I assume it's the second one. I hope it's Shizune and Misha. Shizune is deaf mute, so she uses sign language to communicate with Misha, who translates. I think Misha's just annoying. Like that's the only thing that I've been able to identify.
Oh, well, I hate you so much.
Wait, but Misha is loud, or she's loud, and I'm wondering if that's like if there's a reason for that. I was wondering if she's like hard of hearing or something, or what. That was the only clue I found.
Could not remember what it was. She graded me throughout, but apparently she'll give me in a second. There is Emmy, who she's like the athletic track girl. She doesn't have legs. She has these like prosthetic limbs for running and for walking. And then there's the artist. What's her name again?
Rin,
who doesn't have arms and uses her feet to do her art and to do all her tasks with. So it's like a really interesting mix of characters, again, all really sensitively done. I hate Misha, and apparently you disagree with me, Sean?
I do. I liked Misha. I actually... So this is what threw me off the first time I played through and died, is I really liked Misha, and so I was hanging out a lot with Misha and Shizune, and gradually came to realize that I did not like Shizune at all. She's terrible.
She's the worst human in the world.
And she's like so different than Misha that it like disguised it for a while. But as I gradually got to know her, I was like, okay, which is great. Like, I felt good about that. I felt like I got to know this character well enough that I could really say, I don't like her. She's a bad influence on me. I don't want to hang out with her anymore. And so I started hanging out with other people, and but it was too late. It was too late for me to avoid the grisly rooftop death.
Yeah. It's the feminist conspiracy.
The feminist conspiracy.
Bill, you gotta weigh in on this, man.
I actually feel pretty. I kind of like Misha. I think she's annoying, but she's like good-hearted. She's just like the dog character, you know, like the well-meaning kind of like, you know, kind of shallow, not too bright one. But yeah,
I think she goes deeper than you realize. I think if we could just get to know her. No, Misha.
Yeah,
so
well, is it? But seriously, though, isn't that the draw of all of these characters? It's like
it's true, and that's why I found it frustrating that I felt like I was punished for wanting to get to know the character before I actually made a decision. Now, I think that the way the game is designed, you're expected to play through multiple times. And so this is actually like intended behavior. But as a player, as somebody who's experiencing it for the first time, I found it frustrating that, you know, trying to get to know the Misha and Shizune pairing before I like committed to pursuing a relationship with one of these girls, I felt like I was punished for that. Misha, so me personally, and you know, like I said, Hiseo has different taste than I do, but Misha is she's like the only girl who has a sense of humor. She's very bubbly, and she doesn't like, I don't know. I feel like we don't get to see her really because she's always a mouthpiece for Shizune. But she exhibits a kind of passion about life that I find very lacking in the character depiction of the characters, and especially in Hiseo. And that was something that I found really attractive.
Oh,
so that's my justification.
Sure.
I hate both of them because she and Shizune kept conning me into joining the student council. And my dumbass passive player character was like, I guess I'll join. Like, I would never do that. Like, he just constantly tricked, having no spine under any circumstance. Bill, please tell me you did not like, at the very least, that you didn't like Shizune.
I mean, I thought maybe you could get to know her better, and there's some, like, you know, the rough exterior would have a gooey nougat interior. But yeah, I mean, it's rough because then you play that game of Risk, and it just she's terrible, you know. Although it seems that there's things that she genuinely enjoys, like she smiles when you're talking about competition and all of that. So, you know, she does enjoy things. It's just that what she enjoys is extremely intense, like inhuman, you know, sorts of bouts of skill.
Ultimately, for me, with Shizune, is that she can't get along with anybody. That everybody hates her because she's so hard to get along with, and that, I don't know, I had trouble with that. Did either of you guys end up in the? Sorry, Sean.
I wasn't going to say anything useful at all. I was just going to be like, I didn't want to have to fix it. I don't want to like figure out why someone's universally hated and try to convince everyone who hates her to not hate her. I've been there before, and you know what happens in the end? No wonder everyone doesn't get along with you. This is impossible.
Did either of you get to a scene where you were asked to like help get stuff out of the art room?
Yeah.
Yep.
And Hiseo is so begrudging of somebody like asking for his help. I like, this is just a moment, this is just a character moment where I could not figure out how to relate to him, that he like was so unwilling to befriend the people who are around him at this new school who are all throwing themselves at him. He's so like I don't know. I couldn't deal with it.
He's this whiner who still doesn't say no to anything.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do it. Oh, whatever, I'll join the student council. I'll get you your art supplies. I guess I'll go to the festival.
He's got this thing about being used. Like, he feels like people are using him, and he lets them do it. But he gets really pissed off about it.
It's amazing that, like, well, I guess it makes sense that we have the most to say about the main character, but I don't know if that's intended or not.
Well, I don't know if the fact that we dislike him is intended. Although, honestly, I mean, I think I'll be interested to see where we get in Act 2, because having played Act 2, there's 4 acts, and it seems to me like...
Holy crap! I thought there was 2.
No, there's a total of 4, and it seems to me like Act 1 is a prologue, and the point of Act 1 is literally just choose which girl you want to be with, and then from then on, it's a romantic comedy. It's a very traditional 3-act arc of like the story of your relationship with this girl, and I forget where we started. I forget where I was going with this, but it actually
keep going. Wow.
Yeah, keep going.
It seems like it's actually leading up to this like very traditional structure, a very traditional kind of a romance story, where we've just seen the dislikable main character. I mean, you know, that's kind of a thing. Especially the male main character, the male protagonist in a rom-com, starts off as somebody who's not a great guy, who's somebody
and he has to change.
And he has to change. And so I haven't played through the whole game.
I have a cat.
But I'm curious to see if by the end of Act 4 we would feel like Hiseo has actually arced, has really changed. Which would be interesting because, frankly, that kind of character arc doesn't happen a lot in interactive media.
It doesn't. You're right. I mean, mostly interactive media, like characters, oftentimes just these obvious like clips from a database that mean nothing in aggregate.
Bill, what's happening?
Oh, sorry, man. My hair got out of control. Look, as much as I don't want this to turn into a show about my hair, like it's difficult at times.
You want so badly for this to be a show about your hair.
No, that would be the Bill's Hair blog. I don't have one yet. But you can sign up. You just email the feedback.
Yeah, it's like a half Elvis, half Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, well, you know, the hedgehog effect happens. It's not necessarily intentional. Sorry.
All right, now before we actually step straight up into the gameplay segment, I want to let everyone know. Bill, you took a drink. We're going to be introducing drinks in a moment, so gentlemen, I hope you're prepared. The character whom I'm romancing, I believe is the same as the character that Bill is romancing in this game. It is Emmy. What was it like? Tell me about you going for Emmy in this game.
I was going for Rin, who's her best friend. And then I'm not sure what happened exactly. I think it was the track thing. I decided to like compete with her on the track. Almost died. Ended up getting lunch on the roof, and by then the vibes were it was insane. It was, you know, it was no going back. Yeah, and then I don't know, stuff happened. I just Hiseo'd my way into it, I guess you could say.
That's amazing.
Wow. Oh God. You know, I
shoot for the stars, and you might land on the moon. Or what did they say? Shoot for the moon. You might land on a star. The stars are much farther away. Much far. Is it shoot for the sun? What is it? Please, feedback at day 9 or whatever.
You might land on the moon.
You might land on the moon.
Dude, well, I will say, from a philosophical perspective, this isn't philosophical at all. I don't know why I said that, but like
Just go with it.
From a philosophical perspective, Bill, I hate that guy that everyone knows who makes no attempts to ever date, pursue a girl, ask a girl out, put himself in situations where he'd meet someone, and yet he sits there whining, going, "Gosh, why doesn't anyone like me?"
Dude, you just lost your entire Reddit viewership.
No, but I hate the idea that. Excuse me, as you might have imagined, I'm sick.
Me too.
Hiso gets rewarded for this. Like the whole game is just a big reward for being a passive blob. But,
and the fact that Bill ended up with the best friend of the girl that he liked, I don't know, man. I'm curious. I'm curious to read the rest of the story in that context, because I think we're going to be presented with 3 acts of this true romance. Is it going to work out or not? Is it a comedy or a tragedy? And I think viewing it from the perspective of, I just really, really wanted to bang your best friend.
And then, one thing led to another.
Narration, yeah. I can't wait to role play with all the inflections involved. What on earth was I going to say? Oh yeah, I remember
shoot for the stars and you'll end up in the sun.
Yeah, something you'll burn on the sun. There was a star in the metaphor. The fact is that, for me, I got so into Shizune because she was such a jerk. And then there was this weird scene where Shizune is being a jerk to Lily, and my only options are to also be a jerk, so I chose the one that seemed less jerky, and my guy went he was like a total ass. And I was like, oh, so burn that bridge, so I guess I'm not really anymore. And there was all those sequences in the game that were clearly going to allow me to have a conversation. It would change and it'd be like, I see Lily down the hall. I opt not to talk to her. And then the screen fades out away and I walk down the hall. I had so many of those. And Emmy was really perky, and Rin she just didn't talk like a normal person. I was like, how are you? It's just like, how aren't I? Green eyes. Rin, come on, how are you? Seriously. What's wrong with you? And then went down that whole thing, so yeah. I'm totally into Emmy. And before we begin, I just wanted to ask what you fine gentlemen are drinking.
Well, I do want to add though that, well, never mind, whatever, it's extraneous. This whole conversation is extraneous. This is a Firestone Velvet Merlin, which is a fine combo of words. This is it's an oatmeal stout seasonal release by Firestone Walker Brewing Company, located in Paso Robles, or Paso Robles, depending on how you say it, not too far away. And they also make good wine there, as I understand. I'm going to go turn the heat up, if you know what I mean. I'll be right back.
Okay. I am continuing the sake theme from part 1 because this is part 2. So I've got a bottle of cheap Gaikikan, which I do not think is actually Japanese, but it's got kanji on the front, and I figure that counts for something.
Well, I'm sure as many of you have surmised, I am ill. So taking beer with the medication is bad. So we're just going to assume that this entire thing was some iced vodka that I was just slamming down straight before I started romancing Emmy. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh. It's nice, isn't it? I kid you not. I played for 5 hours. Look at that. 4 hours and 53 minutes of game time, man. Let's do it. My alarm's beeping shatters the early morning quiet, and I find myself wondering where to find the motivation to rise. Now, I figure it would be wrong to have Bill do the voice of Emmy, given his previous wrong intentions of going for Rim. So, Sean, if you'd be so kind as to be Emmy.
All right, I'll do it.
Bill, if you'd be like every other girl, man.
Okay. And Hiseo or not?
I'll be Hiseo. I'll do that.
Okay. Oh, okay, sure, fine. You'll be the guy.
Shatters the early morning quiet. Let's see if it's going to be Act 1. And I find myself wondering where to find the motivation to rise. Class is still quite far off, but I agree to run with Emmy in the mornings. Really, I'm not that interested in running as a hobby or even as a possible life-lengthening exercise. However, I feel obligated to follow through on my promise to Emmy yesterday, which is why I find myself throwing on some running shorts and a light t-shirt. That's such a rationalization. He's doing it because he has no willpower. He's
whipped.
Tell him to. He's whipped, man. He's owned so hard.
He's so whipped.
The cool morning air caresses my face as the morning sunshine causes the dew on the grass to sparkle, nearly blinding me at first. As I make my way down to the track, an ugly thought strikes me. What if this is some sort of joke that Emmy's playing on me?
Oh, this is a great relationship.
Would that surprise me, really? Hell, I'd probably do it to the new guy, too. At the very least, I'm sure Emmy and Ben made a bet on whether or not I'd actually show up. I feel a sense of trepidation as the track comes into view.
You're late!
It would seem that Emmy is already there. What a relief. Not according to my watch. We both are early, in fact.
Damn, you've got me there.
You're a wonderful romantic co-role player, Sean. Excellent. Emmy is sitting on the bleachers, decked out in her running gear, waiting somewhat patiently for me. I'm glad you're actually here. I was afraid that this was a joke or something.
Nah, I'd never make someone get up early for nothing. Plus, Rin owes me 500 yen now. She didn't think you'd actually show up.
Wow, I knew it. Nice to know Emmy was on my side, at least. Emmy hops off the bleachers and begins stretching. She's remarkably lithe, almost like a dancer. I set out to stretch as well, but then realized that I don't exactly remember how to stretch properly. It's been ages since I stretched for anything. If you don't count my one stint at running last week, and even then, I don't think I was actually stretched beforehand. The specter of my long hospital stay rises up again. I can't say I was all that active before the hospital stay, though, so maybe I'm just being morose. I will say, as the game continues, I have this problem where, like, because I almost hate Hiseo, I have trouble, like, getting into it. Like, there's some really good writing there. But all I can think about the fact is that this music is playing with this scene in front of me as I'm talking about the specter of my hospital stay.
Actually, Sean P., the game is a little bit loud musically for me. Is that the same as for you, Sean B?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, but
no, it sounds good now.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, like the track. Actually, this is a good question. Did you do the thing where you had like a mini like heart attack on the track before?
Oh yeah.
Right. So I mean, that makes a little sense. Although he's kind of a downer.
Indubitably.
I mean, he is grappling with the reality of his own mortality. I mean, you gotta kind of give him that.
Well, we all are, man.
6 a.m. I mean, I would do the same thing if I were up at 6 a.m. So, Emmy giggles.
No, Hiseo. You've got to hold it for longer than that.
Oh, is she gonna Swayze him?
What?
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm trying. It kind of hurts a little.
That's because you're out of shape. You've got to get some flexibility in you, like this.
Whoa.
Oh, dang. Wow. Woo! Well, it looks like Brittany put the content warning on this one. To demonstrate, Emmy reaches down and puts her head through her legs. God bless you, Emmy.
What? Oh my god.
I see. Is that the sort of thing I should strive for?
Of course. Flexibility is important for any runner. You'll be able to go faster the more you stretch out.
That makes no sense to me, but Emmy seems to believe it's true. With Emmy's help, I managed to stretch myself out properly. I can't help but notice that when she thinks about how to explain things to me, her mouth scrunches up in concentration. It's adorable.
Not bad, Hiseo. Come on, we better start running. We'll start off with just a mile, okay? That's 4 laps around the track. Got it?
That sounds fine to me. This shouldn't be too hard, right? A hazy memory of running a mile for gym class surfaces in my mind. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Emmy sets a pretty good pace. I fall in behind her.
Try to keep up, okay, Hiseo?
Roger! We round the first curve without incident, though I can already feel my heart rate increasing slightly. By the second curve, I've started to breathe through my mouth. Emmy doesn't even seem to be breaking a sweat. As if to punctuate her superiority, she turns around and starts running backwards.
Are you doing okay, Hiseo?
Never. Ellipsis. Better.
Oh, really? Maybe I should speed up then,
You almost killed me like a day ago! Like the nurse almost fired her from being a spy.
No, seriously, you did. Wait, what happened? I never played that. What happened?
Well, okay, so what happens is the doctor. Yeah, let me turn the music off for a second. Or do we want the music?
Let's turn the music down, guys. Guys, let's turn down the music. We gotta
hold. It's a serious time. It's about a heart attack that my fictional character suffered. So basically, the doctor tracks me down and is like, "Why are you joining like the student council? You need to be exercising. If you don't, you're gonna really damage your health." So he shows up to the track, and Emmy's there, and she's all like happy and giggly and bouncy, and starts running like crazy fast because she's like the captain of the track team, and all she ever does is run according to her character development arc. She runs like 15 hours a day, and you start to try to race her. And you kind of have a little playful flirting thing, and then you try to race her, and then you almost die because you have arrhythmia. Like,
sorry, that came out funny.
Well, that's like literally like I'm actually like standing here with my palms in the air because there's this whole sequence where the nurse is like, "You idiot!" He literally is like, "You're stupid," and then your character tries to retort, which I wouldn't do, but my character did, and then he gets owned even harder by this nurse because like, "You're gonna kill yourself." He goes to Emmy and says, "It's your fault that he did this. You should have seen him. You almost killed him." And then another teacher confronts you and is like, "Don't kill yourself running." And now Emmy says, "Oh, really? Maybe I should speed up then, She's winking at you while eating an invisible watermelon. Like, what is this? Do you see the invisible watermelon, Bill?
Oh, God, I do. The problem is that my, to be honest, my connection tonight is a little slow sometimes, so it's like it emerges from the JPEG slowly. Yeah, I see it though. She's really tucking into that thing.
Why is she doing that so bad for my/Hiseo's health? All right. Oh no, wouldn't want you to yourself. My heavy panting and wheezing makes the statement less convincing than I had hoped. Emmy simply smiles and turns around again.
You're the boss, Hiseo. We'll stay at this pace.
Oh, yeah. I get the feeling that I'm being mocked. If I weren't in such terrible shape, I'd probably feel offended. By the third lap, my breath is coming in ragged gasps. I'm also awash with my own sweat. Gross! We round the curve to start our fourth lap, and Emmy looks back at me with a grin.
Here we go!
Nailed it.
Woo! Starts off at a blinding speed while I stubbornly stick to my slower pace. By the way, Bill, mouse wheel up. Rewind as much as I want. Mouse wheel up. Ooh, brutal. By the time I get to the first turn, she's literally already rounding the second. As I struggle across the back stretch, Emmy continues running and catches up with me.
Come on, Hiseo, you can do it!
I answer her, but I'm too focused on getting air into my lungs and ignoring the burning in my leg muscles. Part of me wants to say something like, maybe you can, but I'm about to die here. But again, I doubt I actually can form words right now. Emmy keeps pace with me as I round the second turn and cross the finish line. Her sprint seems to have gotten her sweating. You know, this inner monologue is a lot like what it sounds like every time I'm like trying to do anything at all physical. Like, I juiced a lemon and was thinking about getting air into my lungs and my burning legs. This guy's fine, man. I'm a nerd. I know the real meaning of being out of shape. It's that... Oh my god, her sprint seems to have gotten her sweating. It's actually caused her shirt to turn slightly translucent. It seems she wears a black sports bra. You know, Act 1 for me was this really delicate, brilliant exploration of a series of characters with real disabilities in a school for people with disabilities and what it's like being a first-week student there. I thought it was really clever. And now, like what you were saying, Sean, it's just like straight up like comedy where like the teenager's like, oh, I've never seen a bra before. Like...
Yeah, well, and it's actually interesting because my Act 2 with Lily was more like Act 1. It was very like...
Well, you were probably just drinking tea and eating crumpets all day.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. There was a lot of crumpets eating.
And a lot of admiring her rehearsed motions, pouring tea. That happened.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
There was nothing in it that was sort of lurid
Or racy. Whereas this game is, we've already written it off. It's this is pornography.
Dude, let's blast onward. I feel a vague stab of guilt for being the sort of guy who stares at a girl's chest, but my legs and chest are burning so badly I can't bring myself to care.
Not bad for a first effort, Hiseo.
Is that you mean your first effort, like physically appreciating her, or your first effort on the trailer?
Bill, I'm so glad you're on this show. Oh yes. Wow. Gosh, wow,
You're welcome.
You have achieved Hiseo's hair mid-run.
Yeah, it's really gotta go fast.
Ride the wave. Oh man.
Aerodynamic.
Kind of you to say so. Emmy seems to be, if not out of breath, at least breathing a little more heavily than she was before it started running. It must have been that sprint that did it.
Hey, I've got a few sprints. I've got to get a few sprints in. You should walk around the track to cool down. And then we can stretch out, and then we'll be all done, okay?
Sounds great. My legs are on fire and my breathing is still heavy, but surprisingly my heart seems to be taking the strain well. Another triumph of medical science, I suppose.
You should put your hands behind your head. It makes it easier to catch your breath.
Surprisingly, she's right. I begin to stroll around the track, happy to feel my breath coming back to me. Whoa! Then he sprints by me. Watching her run is absolutely fascinating.
Fascinating.
It's not just because she's on prosthetics, though that is interesting. This is...
Oh, cool. We get a little animation or something.
You look, it's like this slow zoom in, and it's like, it's very different than all the other past little images in the background. They're all very flat and stacked. This has motion to it. Really,
all I see there is several $100s worth of art time.
Yeah, you would, game developer.
It really destroys your entire psyche.
Every time you see a billboard, you're just like, oh gosh, man. I mean, is that Creative Commons? Can I use that as an asset?
Dead asset.
Dead asset.
Sorry, that's an old game dev joke.
I can only catch glimpses of it as she runs by, but her eye seems to come alive with a sort of fierce joy. It's as if there's nothing else in the world but her and the track. By the time I've gotten to the final stretch, Emmy seems to have finished her sprinting. She's breathing heavily now, but she's wearing a satisfied grin on her face. She waves to me cheerily as I near her.
Feeling better, right?
Actually, yeah.
Do you want to take another lap around with me? I've got to cool down too, you know.
Part of me would rather sit down and not move, but something tells me that would be a bad idea. Besides, if I sit down, there may be no getting back up again. Sure, why not? Emmy's got her hands behind her head now as well, which makes her seem very relaxed. The positioning of her arms also pulls her shirt upward ever so slightly so that I can see a small strip of her belly.
Wow!
I do my best to act a gentleman and not look, but the contrast of her skin against her red running shorts is rather arresting. I'm looking directly.
So how do you feel, Hiseo?
Surprisingly good, actually. Sore and tired, but surprisingly good. I say it, I realize that it's true. Upon intending to lie to her, I accidentally didn't. What kind of line is that? God, I hate me in this game. Sure, part of me wants to lay down and die, but I feel like I've accomplished something. It's almost like a glow throughout my body that persists despite the soreness.
Yeah, that's the runner's high.
Runner's high?
Yeah, it has something to do with adrenaline?
Emmy thinks for a moment as we talk, trying to remember. Then she shrugs and grins at me.
I don't actually remember. It's a good feeling, though, isn't it? Better than sex, right?
Whoa!
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 Whoa! Whoa!
Bill?
Yeah.
I can't tell if you and I went down the exact right or the exact wrong path in Act 1.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of amazing how different this is than my experience, though. I mean, I like that there's such a range in tone across the game.
Well, I mean, you know, this is a sweaty kind of person.
No, I mean, well, obviously she's a very different character than Lily is. I mean, this makes more sense as a story with her. I actually think it's really well done. I appreciate that level of variety. But it's interesting that this is the one we chose.
I enjoy the fact that this is very, like, well, so we're getting into sexual attraction now, and this is it's definitely taken its time to get there. Which I think is good, because, like, you know, like, compared to a lot of, like, TV shows, American TV shows, I mean, those are basically, like, boom, it's, you know, it's all sexual attraction from the start, and everything else is, like, just sort of window dressing for that. But this is really interesting because the main character is actually hesitant to, like, admit that he is sexual and stuff, which I think makes sense for, like, this like high school guy. You know, it's just very interesting.
I'm super curious to see how he's going to react to this, because I don't think he's going to react well.
No, you know what's going to happen? He's going to say yes, and then he's going to go to the library and get a book. You say it was a total bummer. He's the worst. All right, let's take. Okay, now we're gonna make bets. Okay, Bill, what path do you think that Hisayo's gonna go down?
I think he's gonna, like, get extremely embarrassed, but then he's gonna, like, think about why he's embarrassed and think about the fact that he's thinking about that he's embarrassed, and then he's going to he's gonna go do something totally unrelated.
Oh my God! Okay, look, Sean, I don't even want to get opinions from you or Bill, I think you nailed it. Let's find out better than sex, right? To which he says, I opened my mouth to respond shortly before processing what she's just said. ... Emmy watches my face for a few moments before bursting into laughter.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. You're just too easy.
Why did I agree to run with you
Nice.
again? Emmy just laughs harder. She takes a hold of my forearm and tilts it, allowing her to get a better view of my watch. Her face changes the moment she sees the time.
Oh no! We better get a move on, Hiseo. Class is in an hour and I need to shower.
She's a poet. She didn't even know it.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's a rhyme every time.
Oh, I should probably do that as well, said Hisayo blandly.
I need to see the nurse, too. Maybe he'll write me a note for being late.
Why do you need to see the nurse? Emmy points at her prosthetics, as if that would explain everything.
It's important to check for irritation.
That's how I feel.
You know, from sweat or friction or anything. Normally, I only go after practice, but if we're going to be doing these morning runs, then I guess I'll see him twice a day.
Wait, so Emmy has only started doing these runs since I showed up? If it's more convenient for you to run with me at a later time...
Don't be silly. I've been meaning to start running in the morning for a while now. But if I didn't have a partner to run with, I'd be less likely to keep up a routine. It's always harder to blow off a commitment if you're going to let someone else down, you know.
Wait, she said that before, didn't she?
We said that before.
Oh.
I never said that.
So Shaw in Sean's multiverse, he's how it doesn't say it, but in ours, totally.
So you'll be my running partner in the mornings? We both need the exercise, so it all works out, don't you think?
Yeah, perfect. Did it have to be me, though? Well, I guess I can't complain too much. Emmy's pretty fun to hang out with. And she's right. I do need to exercise. Dr. Orders even.
What a dick we are.
My God, we're just the douchest. Emmy waves a goodbye to me.
Right, I'm off. Come have lunch with us, okay?
What?
Lunch! You know, the meal in the middle of the day. Come have it with us.
Where?
On top of the roof, you idiot!
The rooftop! Rin likes it up there.
When?
This guy's so romantic.
Oh my God.
He's a romantic whore.
Oh.
Lunchtime! When else? Oh, that was a silly question.
Why?
Yeah, but I sort of felt the need to ask all three for completeness' sake. Emmy laughs and grins. I don't think I've ever seen a girl smile so much before.
Not bad, Hiseo. See ya!
The statue takes off like a shot for the school building. I guess she's gonna see the nurse first. I hurry back to my room and hop in the shower, only to find the water takes a while to heat up. I hope we... Do you guys both encounter Kenji naked in here?
Yes.
Yeah, naked Kenji. Yep.
Okay, let me actually make sure disable adult content is checked. Okay.
Well, last time, I mean, did you just see the leaf?
I saw a leaf over his...
Yeah.
Yeah.
His business. Right.
Yeah, but I had adult content turned off.
I had it turned on.
Oh.
I was like, look, I'm gonna put in 6 hours.
This game had better pay out.
Well, I mean, Bill, was it a large leaf? It was like a small leaf. Mine was huge. Maybe yours was...
No, it was pretty big. I don't think that they're gonna show... Because isn't it, in Japan, isn't it like a mortal sin to like show the nether regions?
Maybe it's just illegal.
I think it's like you die instantly from your own shame.
Sorry, that's funny.
It's not really though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Shut up, Bill. You're funny. No. If we encounter Kenji and his crazy naked conspiracy theories, the shock of cold water nearly kills me.
Is that figurative or literal?
I managed to warm the water a bit and spend some quality time feeling my muscles loosen. My heart surprisingly feels the least bothered by the run. I suppose it's a good thing, even if it does make me feel like a bit of a wuss. I mean, at least I'd have an excuse beyond I am out of shape if my heart were bothering me. Guess I'll have to keep this running thing up. Otherwise, I'm sure Emmy won't let me hear the end of it. It's only after I get out and dry myself off that I realize I've only 10 minutes left to put on my clothes and get to class. Crap. The hands on the clock finally set me free from the tedium of yet another fun-filled class. Getting up from my seat proves to be more of a problem than I anticipated. My legs are killing me from the morning's run. Maybe doing these with Emmy isn't such a hot idea after all. Still, the run's given me a hell of an appetite. I'm halfway down the hallway to the cafeteria when I remember that I've got my lunch with me. My parents saw fit to provide me with some prepackaged stuff when I moved in. And a good thing, too, the hallway is packed with students headed for the cafeteria. Going back is like swimming upstream, but I've got an appointment to keep on the rooftop. The drama continues, guys. It takes me a moment to find the staircases leading up to the rooftop, but I'm willing to bet that Emmy and Rin aren't up there yet by now anyways. In fact, I think I saw Emmy among the bodies in the hallway leading for the cafeteria. I step out of the door to the roof and take a deep breath. The fresh air blowing against my face and body almost makes my legs hurt less. Bill, do you want to be the girl that you actually wanted to be with?
That's weird, but yes. Maybe if I'm upside down.
Part of me wants to be surprised that Rin's already up here. What's that going to accomplish?
Things in the clouds.
Couldn't you just look at them right side up? Rin rolls her eyes in something approaching exasperation.
Then I wouldn't get a new perspective.
Is upside down really a new perspective? Aha! That caught her off guard. Rin looks pensive.
You may have a point. Maybe sideways.
As Rin lays down on the bench to look up at the sky, I give up. Fortunately, Emmy chooses that moment to burst through the door carrying 2 bags. She nearly takes the door off the hinges.
Sorry, it took me so long. There were a ton of people in line.
She drops the first bag in front of Rin and takes a seat on the bench next to her. That's me. Whoops. You buy Rin's lunch for her?
Sometimes, yeah. I'd have Rin buy my lunch for me in return, but I'm not sure how she'd carry it.
Well, welcome back, Rin.
Plus, I'd never buy her lunch.
If Rin's offended by Emmy's comment, she doesn't show it. Emmy sniffs.
How ungrateful of you.
I'm not sure whether the two are joking with one another or from witnessing the beginnings of a catfight. The girls stare at each other for a few tense moments before breaking into smiles.
Hey, Emmy, do you think being upside down is a new perspective on things?
Didn't I already have this conversation? Emmy looks thoughtful, apparently giving the question some thought. After a deep and profound pause, she speaks.
I have no idea.
Well, at least she's as lost as I am.
Hey, Hiseo, you're coming to the track meet, right?
The question comes out of the blue and catches me off guard. I don't know yet.
Honestly, Hiseo, after I went through all the trouble of letting you run with me in the morning, you won't even show up at my track meet?
Every single girl in this freaking game just, like, cons and guilts Hiseo into doing, like, everything. It's never like, would you like to come to the track meet? I would love it if you came. It's always nice to have friends support me at track meets. It's like, you owe me this. I was there with you at that thing that was unrelated to the track meet.
Okay, yes, I agree with you. There's a lot of emotional blackmail going on here. But if somebody said, hey, I would like you to come to the track meet, what would Hiseo do? Seriously. What would he do?
Go to the library.
Yes. He would do nothing. If somebody said, I would like you to go to the track meet, he's got, like, no sense of empathy with any other human being. I think this is my problem with him.
He's the worst.
He's pretty much the worst.
I'm expecting him to talk about how he doesn't want to go to the track meet, how he doesn't deserve to be there, how he has a whole bunch of stuff going on, and then he's going to out loud say, all right, I guess I'll go. Let's find out what happens. Wasn't she the one that asked me to run with her? Actually, she didn't even give me a choice in the matter. Wait, no, I didn't say that. She beams at me as if I... Wait, what did I say? Wait, no, I didn't say that. She beams at me as if I just agreed to give her $1 million.
So you will come after all. That's great.
I didn't say that either, Hiseo thinks.
I'll be going too, so I'll make sure he comes, Emmy.
It's always double teaming constantly.
Double team.
Good idea, Rin. Maybe we can get some food or something after the meet's over?
I feel like I've just been conned, but not by these two.
What?
More like by some outside force pushing me irrevocably towards my destiny. Or maybe I shouldn't read books that feature conspiracy theories so heavily. Otherwise, I might wind up sounding like Kenji. Still, I suppose that I've got to show up now. I don't think that I could stand against both of them being disappointed. I'd never hear the end of it. When is it again?
Next week, silly. I told you just a few days ago.
No, you didn't.
I forgot? Well, you won't forget to come, though, will you?
Of course I won't. I'll even make a note on the calendar or something.
What a winner.
Oh, Mr. Passive Loser No Good succeeds.
I honestly did not expect us to spend this entire time talking about how much we hate Hiseo, but...
But you guys did hate him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't outright hate it. I guess I just thought of him as like a high school guy. You know, like maybe someday he'll be an okay person. But it's
right now he's in high school, so he's doomed.
He's not done yet. Like he's not finished baking yet. He's like still doughy.
Well, Hiseo has agreed. Rin nods sagely.
That's probably a good idea, you know, unless time changes its course.
It can do that?
Rin's gotten more annoying.
Rin gives a non-committal shrug.
It hasn't yet, but you never know.
This time it's Emmy who gives a shrug.
I suppose it can't be helped if it happens.
Not unless you're a time traveler or something.
God, I'm so glad I didn't go for Rin. Oh.
I know. It's at first she was like, you know, sort of pleasantly interesting, and now she's just gotten exasperating.
You don't actually think that could happen, do you?
I don't think we do. Do we?
Rin shrugs again. That seems to be your default response to everything.
I suppose not, but I reserve the right to change my opinion at a moment's notice.
For Rin, the statement makes a disturbing amount of sense. The fact that I realize this now frightens me a bit. I wonder if Emmy gets this feeling all the time. If she does, she's not showing that. Emmy merely nods.
I'm not going to say my line because I have something else to say. I actually am really curious. I might play through this again after I finish Lily and go for Rin, because I'm curious what that story would be like. I think
two people sitting in a room talking about how much they don't want to do anything.
I mean, I guess we'll see how well this plays out, but I actually have really high expectations based on the writing that we've seen so far. I think it would be a story about coming to understand what on earth Rin is all about, and I think that would be an interesting story.
That's the appeal, right? And I think that was what was interesting about her at first, was that I thought that there was something that she was about, but by now in this story, it just seems like she's kind of irritating.
But that's because we're not following her story. She's a secondary character in this story.
Yeah.
Which bothers me on a fundamental level. I mean, the whole way that the game is tracked like this really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
But within the confines of what the game is doing, which I think is not... I think it's fairly standard in the genre.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we're not supposed to care about Rin. We're not supposed to care about Rin. Mm-hmm. But if we were going down the Rin storyline, then we would care about her, and I think her story would become much more interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually like something really neat that you can really only do in the interactive medium is that you've like set up all the characters, and then you can actually just have them be totally different in the varying paths.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it kind of violates the notion that, alright, you're intended to do multiple playthroughs to get these multiple experiences. But for me, a first-time playthrough through any path, that would be cool to see Rin just sort of be this aloof, functional character, to just have someone else there, so that way Emmy and I don't start talking about feelings or something. God, God, Rin's there being a feeling guard.
over the
in the other path.
Wait, what was that, Sean?
This is nothing important. I was trying to wrap up as quickly as possible because it was not as cool as what you were about to say, Sean.
Hanako changes dramatically based on whether or not you go down the Lily path. I'm just gonna lay that out.
I dig Hanako, man. I totally wanted to talk to her, but I messed up in the library.
Yeah.
Oh, F. Alright, hold on, let's blast down this.
As expected. As expected.
As expected. What's that supposed to mean?
This time, it's Emmy who shrugs. It's like she's using Rin's own weapons against her.
Your response is the sort of thing I'd expect from you. That's all.
Am I really that predictable?
Emmy's smile seems to border on gloating.
Nah, it's just that your unpredictability is pretty predictable.
Well, that's alright then.
I don't get the chance to see whether Rin's being serious or not as the bell rings. I don't notice the lunch period slipping by at all. Hanging out with these two was far too interesting. Emmy jumps up, a look of panic on her face.
Oh no! I needed to stop by my room to pick up my notebook for the next class!
Don't you wish you had a time machine now?
Rin seems rather smug as she delivers this line, like she just won an argument. Emmy ignores Rin's comment.
Where's that laugh track when we need it? Sorry, Hiseo, but could you make sure our garbage gets thrown away?
Yeah, Bill, do you have the laugh track ready? Oh my god, Bill, please not raise your hand. Use judiciously.
I know. They're so easy to click.
Go for it, go for it.
Oh, who? Sean.
Wait, what's happening? Sorry, Hiseo, but could you make sure our garbage gets thrown away? I usually clean up myself, but I've got to run! Ha ha ha!
Emmy darts away with an urgency I'm starting to expect from her. I don't bother asking Rin why she couldn't help. She already seems to be preoccupied with something else entirely as she wanders off. She's probably used to Emmy taking care of cleanup, and for some reason I doubt Emmy's ever raised the issue with her. Cleaning up from lunch doesn't take long, so I have plenty of time to toss our garbage and get to class.
This game is so detailed.
Wave of a devious grin as I walk through the door.
Didn't see you in the cafeteria, Heat-chan.
Oh, it's on now.
Yeah, I decided it was too crowded in there. Misha's grin gets even wider.
Oh, really? Are you sure you weren't participating in an illicit rendezvous?
What? What are you talking about?
You were on the roof, right? With both Rin and Emmy, no less. You Casanova, you.
We just had lunch, that's all. Misha burst into laughter, drawing the attention of several of my classmates.
You're so adorable when you blush like that, Hee-chan.
She gives me a conspiratorial wink.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
There's no secret!
Oh?
Misha seems disappointed, then brightens up again.
Time will tell.
I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Aggressively, our teacher comes in and the class starts. Another day of class has finally dragged itself to a close. Unexpectedly, I managed to stay awake for the whole day. I'm pretty sure it counts as a miracle. My legs seem unwilling to stand up for a moment. I guess the rum took a lot out of me. I head down the hallway and make my way to the room. I sit down and half-heartedly chip away at my homework for a while, feeling like a vulture picking at a particularly unsavory carcass.
Yikes.
Ooh. Damn! Damn! He went straight to the top shelf with his metaphors, man. Listen to that, man. It knows this is what it eats, but it's not sure that it shouldn't be ordering takeout instead. His metaphor fell apart, man. I don't think I can take this, but it's important to get my work done. Now let's see, what was I supposed to be looking over again? I know it's a losing battle, but I tried it anyway. Halfway through my math homework, I put my pencil down. This isn't working, I need a distraction. Unfortunately, my options for distractions are rather slim. I'm not in the mood to read right now. Kenji is unusually out of his room at the moment. If I go to the student council room, I'll just end up doing work for those two. And heaven only knows where everyone else is except for. Well, suppose there's an option.
The track!
Emmy's probably down there. Oh, track practice is just ending as I arrive at the track. Yes, the sun's beginning to dip low in the sky. Has it really gotten that late?
What are you doing down here, Hiseo? Hiseo? Come to spy on me, have you?
Oh, I hope he's just like, yes. I give a shrug. To be honest, I'm not sure why I'm down here. I didn't have anything better to do.
What a Romeo!
Oh, God.
He's so smooth.
Honey, do you think I'm beautiful? There's nothing better to look at. There's like a right way and a wrong way to say it. I figure that's about right. He makes an ass out of himself and then is like, yep, nailed it. At the moment, Emmy is the only person I can think of who I could visit.
That's romantic.
So I'm your last resort, am I? Nobody cool around? So I'll just go see Emmy, is that what you thought?
She actually looks angry.
Oh, sorry, that was angry.
Oh. Again?
I'll just go see Emmy, is that what you thought?
She actually looks angry. A chance for some teasing of my own presents itself.
No, it doesn't. She's legitimately upset. Time to get hilarious.
Oh, it's funny. Actually, yeah, I guess you are. What a great teaser.
Zinged her.
Ooh, Emmy pouts, widening her eyes to give the maximum amount of puppy dog resemblance. Kidding, I was kidding!
So you are down here to stalk me.
Wait, what? That's not what I meant! Why would I stalk you anyways? It's not like you require stalking! You're not or asleep or in class, you're down here, right? Emmy laughs at this comment?
Well, you're not all wrong, I suppose, but you forgot about eating. I do that too, you know.
On the roof.
I nod, conceding the point.
Plus, I hang out with Rin sometimes too, so really, I might take some effort to stalk.
What do you two do together anyways? You don't seem to have a lot in common. Oh, that's me. She puts her hand on her hips and assumes a superior air.
That's what you think. I've got all sorts of hidden hobbies, you know.
A hobby.
Like what? Emmy puts her head to one side as if she's trying to remember what it is she does in her free time.
Well, Rin and I go out shopping sometimes. That's a hobby.
I guess that makes sense. Emmy's a girl after all, but Rin? Rin...
Is Rin a girl?
Rin is also a girl. And you know what the amazing thing is? It's not like he said it and we can be like, oh, it was impulsive and he didn't think before he spoke. It's like he thought that. Like this thought happened in his head as if without control. I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. Emmy's a girl after all, but what about Rin? Rin comes with you?
We usually swing by the art supply store.
Alright, Bill, I just want you to be Hiseo's green voice. I'll do it, but I just want you to be Hiseo.
Yeah, I'm not getting enough. You know, I'll practice my vocal talents.
Plus,
yeah, way to go, Sean. Nice. Plus, she likes the music store that sells all kind of weird sounding stuff. She says it helps focus her.
That makes a little more sense.
I see. Any other hidden hobbies?
Emmy wags a finger at me.
Now, why would I go and reveal all my dark secrets to you? We hardly know one another.
Somehow, I think that's all that Emmy has in the way of hobbies. I don't know how that sentence was that impossible for me to read. Still, Emily, my question's been answered.
Even if you do have a few hobbies, I still don't see why you hang out with Rin so much. I mean, she's kind of weird, isn't she?
This comment causes Emmy to laugh loudly.
That's the understatement of the year!
So why? I mean, you're a lot better at conversation and stuff, so I figure you'd hang out with a lot of people, but I think I've only ever seen you with Rin. I'm making this guy sound like an ass. I kind of like it. A donkey.
Emmy seems unusually defensive.
Hey,
yeah.
I hang out with plenty of people that aren't Rin. You just don't see me doing it because I'm not in your classes.
Okay, but that still doesn't explain why you hang out with Rin.
Dude, why? He's obsessed with this! Oh my god, he's gonna push her off the roof next lunch. I'm not even sure why I want to know this. I guess it is because lunch was so strange. Emmy shrugs, looking for a moment, very Rin-ish.
It's because we have similar outlooks.
If you were to ask me the least likely answer to my question, it would be that.
What do you mean?
It's like... Okay, Rin paints and stuff, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure where this is going.
Well, I run.
And
that's why we're similar.
Guys, I'm in love.
This is actually fantastic. If he doesn't, like, get this, then I'm going to punch him in the face.
what do you mean get this? Am I missing something? Was that cool?
No, I think it's totally cool. I think it's Emmy and Rin are the two girls that are really passionate about something.
Oh, right, sure. Yeah.
And that differentiates them from everybody else in the cast. And I think it makes sense for them to bond over that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Shizune's passionate about being an ass.
Okay, well, that aside.
Sorry, I'm still mad.
I mean, you know, it actually makes total sense to me, and
Well, they do the opposite of what they're supposed to be able to do. Because, right, because she has prosthetic legs, but she's a runner. Rin doesn't have arms, and she's a painter. I guess she's not blind. She was talking about a blind boy who painted.
Right.
And I was wondering if that was Kenji.
Mm.
He's partially blind, right? Sort of blind.
I don't know.
I hope we encounter Kenji today. But yeah, I like that. Yeah, they're the two who are doing what should be impossible for their conditions.
And doing the things that they love. I mean, they wholeheartedly love this thing.
She Rin love painting or not?
Yeah,
Or
she does.
Oh, she does?
She's all up on that, man. You should know this. Didn't you try to date her once?
Yeah, but she never expressed any passion for it. She was just always like, I gotta paint. More paint. She was picky. She was picky and extremely, like, critical of her painting, but she didn't seem passionate about it, per se. I don't know.
She loves it, man.
Oh, no, wait, no, there is one line where it says something about, like, right, that's the only time when he feels that he can relate to her is when she's painting and she looks intense. Yeah, okay, so that, I'd forgotten about that.
So let's find out if Hiseo is as just dash cunning and smart as we are.
You lost me.
Emmy frowns as if trying to figure out her answer.
Well, maybe it's that we do things for the same reasons.
Huh?
You know, we follow our passions.
Nailed it, Sean B. Wow. So you're passionate about running and Rin's passionate about art. Is that it?
Well, sort of. Let me think. Well, Rin explained it to me once, but I don't know how much of it I followed.
Not surprising. I think any explanation from Rin would probably confuse anyone.
She says we both chase after an extreme. Like, she's always trying to find a new way to show a particular feeling or something. And I run because of the feeling I get from it. And since we don't allow ourselves to be slowed down by anything, we make a connection based on that.
What do you mean by slowed down by anything?
Really? Are you that thick?
Yeah?
Seriously?
When?
I'm
Why?
At the very end of this, he's like, but yeah, why do you hang out with Rin?
I wish this was MST3K and we could cut to like a skit that we do about this, because that would be hilarious.
Oh gosh, this is like Zoolander, man. This is amazing. All right.
It'd just be incredibly fast running all the time.
All right. Emmy looks surprised and points to her legs.
You know, because I'm a runner and Rin's a painter, even without arms.
Man, we nailed this, you guys! Holy...
You're amazing! Oh my god! Dude, does the maker of this game know that I couldn't figure out the punchline to the joke I was gonna make? Does he know that? Let me try it again. Like, I'm just gonna move on, man.
No, I get you. I understand.
You understand?
Yeah.
Woo!
What? No, yeah, is he reading your mind? He's reading your mind, right.
Thank you. I'm gonna blame it on the fact that I have a fever and I'm drinking all this vodka wisely.
Yeah, I know, right?
Great. Ooh, boy.
Ooh,
So
we're
we
so
respect
smashed
each other's
right now.
determination, and that's why we hang out.
Oh, sure.
I think.
Well, I'm not sure that made any sense to me.
I'm thick as a brick, you guys. I'm thick as a brick over here.
Honestly, it's not something I think about much. We get along. We just get along. I think that's all that really matters.
I suppose you got a point there. Oh my god. Another question strikes me, and since I've got nothing better to do, I ask it.
So what got you into running anyway?
Oh, I've been running since I was really little. My dad was a runner, so as soon as I could walk, he started teaching me how to run. It was our father-daughter thing, you know? Our own mutual hobby.
A shadow crosses her face, and I'm shocked to see her looking sad. Did something happen between them?
Man, I don't have a lot of time left. What?
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
But I've got to get a few more laps in before I go see the nurse.
She races off around the track, hair streaming in the wind.
Double tails.
Going a lot faster than she was this morning. As she rounds the track, I catch a glimpse of her face. It's much the same as it was this morning, but her eyes seem to have taken on a harder edge. I guess she's right. I don't really know much about her. I watch her run for a little while and then stand up to head back to my room.
Hey!
Hi, hey! She spots me leaving and really catch my attention.
Don't forget, same time tomorrow morning. Got it?
Got it.
I head back to my room. Homework beckons. Let's go to bed,
Homework.
man. I can't sleep. My body's tired, but my mind is kept awake, staring at the ceiling and the hollow darkness of my room. I grasp desperately for a thread of thought, hoping that I can run my brain into the ground. All I can think of is how I can't think of anything.
Whoa.
That is not productive at all. I wonder if this is a side effect of my medication, though it seems odd for it to take so long to show up. Then again, maybe I'm just not as used to my new surroundings as I'd like to think. I don't know, but for whatever reason, I'm awake and I shouldn't be.
Stop thinking about thinking.
Ignoring my body's stiffness, I get out of bed and look at my clock. 4 in the morning. Last time I checked, it was only 1, so maybe I slept a little. I don't know. I throw on some clothes and head out of my room. A walk might do me some good. I'm surprised how chill the air is compared to the relative warmth of the day. I can almost see my breath as I wander the campus, waiting for the sun to come up or for me to fall asleep. At this point, either option works for me. I find myself at the track. Aww, or for the first time Emmy's not out running. I suppose that makes sense. It's too early, even for her. The bleacher seats are cold, but at this point I welcome the sensation. The sun is starting to show its face over the horizon, and I know with an awful certainty that I'll get no more sleep tonight. The sun's steadily strengthening rays start to warm me up, and I watch the dew on the ground begin to steam slightly. Oh, this is cool. It's actually getting brighter.
It's nice.
Yeah.
My mind calms down a little. Oh, dude, we fell asleep on the ground. Someone's shaking me.
Hey, wake up!
Huh? Where? What?
I guess I fell asleep after all.
What are you doing out here? You're gonna catch a cold or something.
I rub my eyes and am confronted by Emmy, who bends over me with a worried expression. I'm still a little groggy, so my response comes out in a mumble.
I couldn't sleep. I watched the sun come up.
Sounds like something Rin would say.
I shrug, feeling the stiffness that comes with sleeping on a bench for a few hours.
Is it? I wouldn't know.
Why do you hang out with her anyways? Emmy winks a little at my somewhat cranky response.
So, couldn't sleep, eh? Obviously, we need to run you harder today.
Oh, we're gonna die! Even though I've only known her for a week, this seems a very Emmy-ish response to the problem.
Hey, my body was plenty exhausted after yesterday. My mind was just racing, that's all. Get it?
I don't see the difference. If you run hard enough, your brain will get tired too.
I'm seriously questioning the wisdom of doing this first thing in the morning. I don't know if my grades will be able to handle me tiring my brain out like that. Oh, Emmy pulls me up from the bleachers with surprising strength for someone her size.
Now come on, Hiseo. We've got work to do.
I don't actually know if I'm up to this today, to be honest. I mean, I obviously didn't get much sleep, and what sleep I got was on the bleachers.
I don't know. Should I really be running?
Emmy glares at me. Good heavens.
What are you talking about? Of course you should be running. How else do you expect to work out the kinks? You've been sleeping on the bleachers, for heaven's sake. The best way to get that soreness out is to run a little. Now stop hiding in the bleachers and get down here.
There's no arguing that. I'm pretty sure she'd kill me if I didn't do as she said. I get to my feet and hop down to the track. The The sun is warming things up rather nicely, I think. Emmy and I begin to stretch out, and I find myself once again hard-pressed not to stare. If this is how I have to wake up every day, I might be able to get used to this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Hiseo, it's not polite to stare.
I wasn't staring, I swearing.
I was staring.
Oh, Emmy raises an eyebrow and considers me for a minute, as if evaluating my response. There's a brief moment where I'm afraid for my life. But then she smiles and laughs, shaking her head slowly.
Honestly, you didn't have to deny it so strenuously.
Ooh, hey.
I clap my hands together and go for a change of subject.
So, that's enough stretching, right?
Emmy gives a casual shrug.
Do you feel stretched? That's really how you tell.
Well, I do feel up to the run, if that's what she means.
Yep, I feel ready to go.
Same as yesterday, okay? We'll just run for a mile at a steady pace. Don't worry about going really fast. Just worry about keeping the pace. Got it?
You're the boss.
Emmy grins, and we take off around the track. Let's do this. ... I think I'm gonna die. I'm not even done with the first lap, and my legs are on fire. My breath is coming in ragged gasps. I can feel sweat pouring down my brow, and I've only just now rounded the second turn.
Come on, Hiseo. You've got 3 more laps to go.
I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I think I might hurl. Somehow we're on the second lap. Emmy's not even sweating. How can she do this so effortlessly? For some reason, I'm still moving. She's like a machine. Third lap. What happened to the second?
Almost there, Hiseo.
Liar. We've got another 2. Nothing to be done.
I can't do this.
Emmy whirls around and begins running backwards. Her face is a mask of anger that surprises me.
Never say that. If you say that, you'll have already lost. Keep moving. If you're alive, you can keep moving, damn it.
Whoa, language. We're on the 4th lap now. She really seems to want me to keep going. Legs move, move, move. They feel so sluggish. I'm in mud or molasses or tar. I can't go on. I'll go on.
Final stretch, Hiseo. Give it all you've got.
I pump my legs as fast as they'll go. They keep refusing to obey my commands. Somehow I keep moving. Somehow I finish.
That's it, Hiseo. I knew you had it in you.
Would you like
Yay!
a watermelon?
Well done.
The anger Emmy showed a lap ago is gone, replaced with pride. She's positively radiant, like she just won the gold medal or something. I stagger to a stop and fall to my hands and knees, gasping for air. My heart is pounding harder than it has in a long time.
Oof.
I think it's done this since...
Oh, God.
Please slow down, heart. Just slow down. Stop racing. I cough, and for some reason, I feel a grin crossing my face. So this is how I die, huh? Trying to stay healthy? How ironic. I'm all ready to give up right there. But then I feel my heart slow down. 2 hands grab under my arms and tug upwards. I look and see Emmy standing over me, with a mixture of delight and worry.
On your feet.
Wouldn't this be amazing if this was actually a death path in the game? Just like drinking and falling off the roof was for you, Sean?
I think there are running-related death paths.
In the game or in life?
No, in the game. In the game. Okay, so after the first time that I died, I looked at some graphs of the flow of the game, and I didn't read them really thoroughly, especially into the second act, but there are death paths like in the late game, and I think they're related to running.
Man.
Gee.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's keep running.
Come on, you'll never catch your breath that way.
Somehow I manage to stand. I try to raise my arms above my head, but it feels like lead. I start to walk around the track while Emmy keeps close to me. She's afraid I'll fall over or something. It may not be far off. I feel terrible and say so. Emmy laughs.
But you finished, didn't you? You said you couldn't, but you did. Isn't that worth it?
I'm not sure, and I don't really have the breath to say so. But that small grin I felt on my face earlier hasn't left. So what if my heart's weak? I still survived this morning. Maybe I'll survive tomorrow, too.
Aww.
As soon as it becomes apparent that I'm not going to suddenly keel over, Emmy takes off her sprints. I don't know how the hell she can manage to sprint after running a mile, but I guess she's in much better shape than me. Once again, as I walk around the track, I can't help watching Emmy sprint. It's weird, but she's like a different person when she's pushing herself. Last time I noticed her eyes, but this time it's her mouth that catches my attention. She's not wearing her normal grin. She's still smiling, but there's a tightness to it. It's almost grim, like she's fighting a losing battle but doesn't seem to care. She seems to be running harder, just like she did yesterday. Sweat has started to pour down her face, but she keeps going. Her mouth finally opens as she can no longer get enough air through her nose. As she passes me once more, legs pumping, arms swinging, and her lips slightly parted, she looks beautiful.
Oh.
Oh, after laps around the track to cool down, Emily changes back to her usual self. The transformation I saw in her is gone.
Not bad today, Hiseo.
There's almost admiration in her voice.
What do you mean? I would have stopped if you hadn't yelled at me.
Emmy colors a little, seemingly embarrassed around her outburst.
Sorry about that. I just can't stand to see people give up. Especially about something like this. Saying I can't go on is silly when you're obviously going on while you're saying it.
That's a tweet.
That's what this is all about.
What, saying silly things? Wow, how slow am I? Really slow. And just not fun to be around or to be.
Emmy sticks her tongue out at me.
Idiot. I meant showing that you're alive.
It's not often that you get to roleplay yelling at yourself.
I'm so glad I got to call myself an idiot. That was highlight.
Showing I'm alive, huh? I didn't know it had to be so painful, but it does feel pretty good despite that.
Besides, this is one of the hardest days.
Sorry, I'm rebuffering. What do you mean?
Whenever you start a workout, it's difficult the first day, really hard the second day, and then the third day is easier. You still get days that are really hard, but they pop up less and less.
So you think this will eventually get really easy, huh?
Yeah, of course. But then you have to increase the difficulty, or you'll never get ahead. You'll just get complacent, and you'll lose the sense of accomplishment.
So I'll have to run more than just 4 laps, huh?
Yep, but not for a while. You have to be careful, you know.
A thought strikes Emmy, and her face lights up.
Got it!
Got what?
You can come with me to see the nurse. That way you won't fall over dead or anything.
How charming.
When?
Right now, of course. You'll need a shower and everything, right? We don't have much time then.
Grabbing my hand, she's off, pulling me along with her. I guess I'm nurse. My goodness, but you're in today, aren't you, Emmy? I have no idea how we got to the nurse's office so fast, but here we are.
That's how you move in this world, as if in a dream.
The nurse grins at Emmy and seems to completely ignore me. You've got plenty of time to take a shower and get to class, you know. There's no need to run through the hallways like that. I could hear you coming a mile away. Somehow it doesn't seem like he's actually scolding Emmy at all. It's like this is sort of a routine between the two of them. Emmy does a passable imitation of remorse.
I'm sorry, I won't ever do it again.
The nurse and Emmy both laugh at some private joke. Suddenly, it seems that he notices me. Ah, hello, Hiseo. What brings you here?
Well, I've been...
Hiseo's officially joined me on my morning runs.
I love it when this game does that, where like I didn't actually click anything. It actually like forcibly moved me on to the next thing. Like there's not a lot of mechanics in this game, but like it uses the sparse mechanics it has like crisply. Alright, I want to see if we can get to a decision point. I'm not sure there will be one in like this first part.
Sure. I mean, it's good though. It's a good story.
I like it.
I think we're like a third of the way to the decision point.
Excellent.
I start to explain... Oh, no, sorry, that's you. What am I doing?
Look at me now.
I thought he might need to visit you so that he doesn't die or anything. That's what I thought.
The nurse raises his eyebrows in mock horror. Yes, that would certainly put me out of a job fast, wouldn't it? Well then, Hiseo, let's have a look at you. Lift up your shirt, would you? Yeah, I'm suddenly very conscious of the fact that Emmy's in the room with me and blush in spite of myself. The nurse seems to sense my discomfort, but it seems only to amuse him.
What a nurse.
A bit
Bit shy, are we? Undress.
He makes an apologetic bow to Emmy. Sorry, Emmy, I tried to get you a free show, but it doesn't seem to have worked. Emmy stiffens slightly and fires a look of annoyance back at him.
You're an asshole.
Nailed it.
He bows to me apologetically.
I'll wait outside, okay, Sam?
This is where the nurse is like, alright, now seriously take off that shirt because you might die. It's not really a big deal. She doesn't have to leave, but she's already out the door and the nurse is laughing as he watches her go. Still got it, huh?
I don't follow.
He laughs again. He's in on some joke that's over my head. I can still get her flustered. It's a competition of sorts we've had going on for a while now. That sounds incredibly sinister to me, and it seems as if the nurse realizes that too. Oh, that sounded a lot worse than it actually is, come to think of it.
I wasn't going to say anything.
No, you're right. I should fill you in so that you don't get the wrong idea. I'm actually relatively new here, you see. I got hired in the same year Emmy started going here. Before that, I worked with Emmy during her initial rehab following her accident. Hold on, what?
What?
We had to amputate her legs after a really nasty car wreck. It nearly killed her, and succeeded. He shuts up abruptly. I blink at receiving this unexpected piece of news. Well, that's not my place to say. Anyways, we've known each other for quite a while. We have a slightly more familiar relationship than is strictly professional. He seems embarrassed, like he's done something stupid. I guess he's really worried about that. I wave a hand to let him know it's not a big deal.
Don't you worry, sir. Don't worry, sir. I promise. I'm going to be discreet.
I'd been wondering about what caused Emmy to lose her legs, and that was one of the scenarios I had thought of. So there were only so many ways that could have happened, but actually hearing about the facts, still a little shocking. Well, thanks, you're a good kid. He say, oh, I can see why Emmy became friends with you. She's quite indomitable, you know?
Like the snowman. What do you mean? Abdominal?
The abdominal snowman. That's amazing.
Yeah. There's the abominable snowman, and then there's the one that's indomitable. Of course, the inimitable snowman. And the indelible snowman. Old snowman. Nurse.
The inedible snowman.
The inedible snowman.
Email your snowman ideas to feedback at something.
Her learning to walk. She'd go for much longer than the others in the hospital. She refused to quit. Normally it takes years to get to a point where you can even think about running again. Emmy did it all in about a year. He seems proud of her, like a father who watches a daughter win a competition or something. Hell, she'd probably have done it faster if not for the fact that we wouldn't let her.
Wouldn't let her? Why not?
Because she'd go for so long that her legs would start bleeding where they met her prosthetics.
Whoa!
It's a real concern. It's why she comes by every day after she runs. To say nothing of the risk of infection if her legs get cut up and her prosthetics are dirty. But enough about that.
Did the music just cut out?
Yeah, if we don't get you on your way soon, Emmy will think you're up to something. As he says this, he gives a wink and begins checking my heartbeat. The stethoscope is way too cold. He really should have heated it up or something before he used it. I'm such an indignant bitch. Satisfied. Well, you sound pretty good to me. He said, oh, you didn't have any other chest pains while you were running, did you?
No, not really. I had some trouble catching my breath, though, and my heart was racing by the end, too.
The nurse frowns as I say this, but then shrugs. It's probably just because you're out of shape. But if you don't improve, then you should let me know, okay? Don't push yourself too much. And of course, if you have any chest pains, come to me immediately, right? I put my shirt back on, and the nurse leans out of the doorway to call in Emmy.
He's like Dr. Spaceman.
What took you so long? Now I'm going to be late.
The nurse gives me a significant look. I was just seducing Hiseo, that's all.
In the context of the last visual novel we played, the nurse ends up murdering you.
Yeah.
This takes on kind of a different color.
Dude, I like the idea that like every visual novel has a nurse that is intended to fulfill a specific notion. There's like the gods in Greek tragedies and the nurse in Japanese visual novels.
Exactly.
Both. All right, come on, Emmy.
What? Come on. Come on. What have I told you about seducing my friends?
I'd expected Emmy to be shocked by this, but instead she seems merely annoyed, scolding the nurse as if he were a child stealing cookies. Meanwhile, I try very hard not to blush at the nurse's innuendo.
And not the other.
Do it again, though I fear a young Hiseo may be lost to the female gender forever.
Not freaking likely.
God, this guy is like more dense than War and Peace.
Nice.
Woo! I'll take a jab at Hiseo and sophomore year of high school.
Heyo.
Heyo! Or Hiseo! I didn't mean to say that out loud, but both Nurse and Emmy regard me for a moment before bursting into laughter again.
Told you he was funny, didn't I?
Huh, I guess Emmy does talk to the nurse about a lot of stuff. Well, Hiseo should probably get moving. You still need to shower before class starts, don't you, you stinky nerd? Crap, he has a point, and it looks like I've only got half an hour.
Thanks for your time. I'll see you later, Emmy.
I dash out of the room as the nurse begins to remove Emmy's prosthetics. As I head down the hallway, I can just barely hear his voice drifting after me. Emmy, you've got to be more careful. I make it back to my room and shower in record time. It occurs to me that I've been already up for 4 hours and class hasn't even started yet. This is going to be a really, really long day. I hope I don't fall asleep in class. Come on, speed up.
I hope Emmy doesn't, like, get an infection and die.
That's the end of the story arc.
No.
That would be kind of amazing, actually.
The morning sun streaming through my window wakes me up instead of my alarm, and I realize that it must be Sunday. Emmy has kindly deigned weekends off from our morning runs. You know, I'm just gonna say, I just want to play for like just 5 more minutes, and then we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
I'm excited. I want to get some juicy juice, some real action going on. I want some tension to be in the air, some implication.
Tensiones.
I don't actually know if I woke up at all yesterday, or I just slept through the entire day. My legs groan in protest as I lever myself out. All this running has really taken it out of me. Still, I can't deny that Emmy wasn't lying to me. It has gotten a little easier. I'd been worried that the runs would start to wear on my nerves, but thus far I haven't minded them that much. Well, it's only been a week. I suppose there's plenty of time for me to start dreading the sound of my alarm in the morning. Not that I think about now. As Emmy said, it's harder to stop the routine when there's another person, and frankly, I don't think I'm equipped to deal with a disappointed Emmy. She'd probably give me those puppy dog eyes, and I'd feel terrible about myself. Which reminds me, wasn't I supposed to be somewhere today?
Hey, you're coming to my track meet on Sunday, right?
My God, if we missed it, oh my God!
What am I talking about? Of course you are. Right?
Those puppy dog eyes again.
Of course I'm going. I owe you, right?
Exactly. So don't forget, okay?
Don't forget. Don't forget. Don't forget.
Crap, Emmy's track meet. I better get on the move on if I don't want to miss her running, since she's the only reason I'm even considering going. Otherwise, I would defeat the whole purpose of going.
That's how it works.
And so soon I find myself quite suddenly surrounded by a crowd of people, all turning out to see a track team compete with another school just like this one. I'll admit, it's almost...
The words went up.
Yeah, wow, let me... Hold on. I'll admit, it's almost comforting to know we're not the only school like this. After you see that there can be 2 schools with a bunch of defective kids, well, you stop feeling so defective. You also stop feeling unique, which in most cases would be a bad thing, but in this case, it sure as hell isn't. That's part of Yamaku's appeal, I guess. Learn that you're not unique. Hell, learn there's a lot of others who would kill to be saddled with your problem instead of whatever they're dealing with.
That's a weird mixed metaphor.
Yeah. Some of the kids here aren't here because they're missing a leg or have a heart condition. Some of them might be here because they're as good as dead in 2, maybe 3 years if they're lucky. That's only if they get the right sort of care. It's a bitter sort of comfort to be able to say, well, at least I've got a chance of being alive through college, but there it is. I'm brought out of my rather morbid musings by the appearance of Rin near the entrance to the bleachers.
You came. Of course! I said I would, didn't I? That doesn't necessarily imply that you had to follow through. Lots of people say things and don't mean them. Well, I don't.
Rin shrugs, seemingly bored with our conversation. She turns on her heel and heads back towards the stands.
I owe Emmy money now. Why's that? I didn't think you'd show up. Emmy did.
Oh, yes. We're a profitable lover.
So I owe her 500 yen.
That's like $1,000.
You two bet an awful lot, don't you?
Another shrug from my armless companion.
I don't think so.
We enter the bleachers and Rin nods upwards. Up there! Sorry, Bill.
I came out to see if you'd come.
For the bet, I presume. Rin leads the way as soon as we'd settled down on an almost empty bench.
Whoa.
Wow, there's an older woman sitting next to Rin. Someone's mother, I assume. She's got rather long hair done up in a braid. On seeing Rin, she gives an oddly familiar-seeming grin.
Well, this is surprising.
Sean, do you want to be woman with
Sure.
braid?
Yeah. Well, this is surprising. I thought you went to get a snack and not a boy.
Not a boy.
No potato.
What's the deal with the one eye closed, other eye completely open?
It's an extended wink.
Huh?
Wow. Actually, you know what? I think I can do this. I think I can. Actually,
Whoa!
yeah, I can actually get you some like
Enhance! Enhance!
hands. Look at this. What is this expression that we actually have going on here?
Are those? Is she doing duck lips?
Yeah, like
It's more like a bird beak.
All right.
Sorry, artists.
All right, I want to see Emmy win, or at the very least, I want to be there to witness her lose and be like, "But are you upset that you lost? I didn't think, but isn't running everything to you?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's saying, oh God, man, shut up." All right, do it, Bill, do it.
Huh? A snack? I wondered why I was down there.
The woman laughs again in a way that seems familiar. Where have I seen her before?
Well, I suppose you've always been one to go out for one thing and bring back another. But I'm being rude. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Meiko Ibarazaki.
Good luck, man.
Emmy's mother. Pleased to meet you.
Coo-coo-coo-choo, Mrs. Robinson.
Well, that explains it. She's like a taller, older, and better endowed Emmy.
Jeez.
God.
Here's Act 3, coming at ya.
Apart from her hair being a darker shade than Emmy's, there's really no mistaking the resemblance.
Sorry, I'm Hisao Nakai. And really, you don't have to apologize for not introducing yourself, Miss Ibarazaki. Ibarazaki? That's really Rin's job in this situation, isn't it? Jeez, Rin.
Asshole! Another laugh from Emmy's mother.
I take it you've not known Rin for that long, then. It's best not to expect her to remember something like that. She's got other things to think about, I assume.
I assume.
I'm not seeming pleased by this assessment.
She's right. I was thinking about sunsets.
You see, it's really up to us to make introductions and the like.
For lack of any better response, I nod. Mrs. Ibarasaki leans back in the fucking seat and raises an eyebrow.
So how long have you and Rin been dating?
Dude, it is incredibly relevant that this is being asked to you, Bill. My response consists of silence as my brain suddenly lurches into gear, but just before I begin to utter a hastily... Emmy's after again.
Ha! You're a blusher, aren't you?
I don't know if there's any way to keep my dignity in this situation, so I settle for a mumbled response.
Maybe.
So this must... Oh, something. This must be a new romance then, mustn't it?
Mustn't. Well, that's not the question that...
Another laugh.
I know, but it's funny to watch you squirm.
Ugh.
I'm sorry. Forgive an old woman her amusements.
No.
Forgive this old woman her amusements. Forgive her face. All right. Oh my god, Bill! Oh my god, you did it! Oh my god! Oh my god, call the president! He needs to know the economy's gonna be fine. Oh my god. Oh, let's just get this track meet over with, man. Oh my god. Oh my god, that was funny.
Forgive an old woman her amusements.
Old woman? She sure doesn't look old to me.
Oh, God.
Gets her youthful features from her mother.
I suppose I can let it go.
How kind of you.
It's starting! It's starting.
Yes. Come on, Emmy! Ugh. I direct my attention to the track where they're preparing for the first sprint. It looks like the 400-meter dash. My eyes scan the runners before finding Emmy. She's smiling, with an almost cocky look on her face. The starter raises his pistol. Emmy explodes off the block, disappearing from the starting line in a blur. It's amazing. As the other sprinters converge on the lanes closest to the inside line, Emmy surges to the front of the pack. By the time she rounds the final turn, some of the other runners have caught up with her. Their efforts come to naught, though, since a final burst of speed from Emmy leaves them at least a half-second behind. Oh! Mrs. Ibarazaki whoops and shouts, applauding wildly and generally looking like any other parent would cheering for their child. Emmy bounds off the track, looking pleased with herself. I cheer right along with the rest of them. The announcer, sounding suspiciously like Misha, gleefully gives the results.
I think she's gotten faster since the last time.
That was
incredible.
Mrs. Ibarazaki grins proudly.
Emmy's a heck of a runner.
We fall silent as the next event is being prepared. I'm surprised to see Emmy striding out onto the track again.
Wait, didn't she just run?
Emmy's mother nods.
Yes, but she runs multiple events for the team, especially the sprints. It's a lot of running, but Emmy can handle it.
From the looks of things, she's right. Emmy doesn't appear to be tired, as if she hadn't run the previous event at all. If not for the visible sweat on her shirt, you'd never know.
Which event is this?
It's the 200-meter dash. She'll do this one, the 100-meter, and the relay.
I see.
You know, I wanna keep going, but we've been going for 2 hours. We did it. The limit.
We got through the track meet.
Oh my god! Can you just play that cheer one more time? Oh, that was great. Well, so you know, I want to come back again to what you were saying, Sean, at the start, that like the entire Act 1 is basically this really long, elaborate prologue that sets you up to have a 3-act play with one of the 6 possible different girls in the game. But I will say I'm pretty impressed with how different the tone is with this branch versus the branch that you are on.
No, totally. I completely agree. I think it's... I mean, honestly, that's the thing that makes me want to play more of the game. I would probably be satisfied playing through like one of the tracks to completion. And I don't feel the need to like go back and play all of the different girls. But I'm really curious about the different tones that it can strike and what like really what is the range there. I think Rin's would be really interesting.
Yeah.
The biggest. No.
Okay. I didn't realize how deep we were going to get into one character. I thought it was Act 1 and then Act 2. But if it's 4, I mean, I really want to know, like, is Emi's mother supposed to be, like, attractive to Hiseo? Is this a thing? Or does it just happen to be the art style and they just keep happening to say things about that she looks good?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's the art style. I don't think this is going to turn to like a Stifler's Mom Branch or anything like that.
Stifler's.
God, is that? Wow, that's. I forgot that this is MetaDating where we talk about video games.
What are you referencing?
American Pie.
Bye.
Oh, I should see that movie. No, that's actually a very well-regarded piece of Americana at this point.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, okay, so the biggest question I have for you fine folk is that I'm sure you have read a book where it's from the first person perspective of someone who you just don't like very much, who has like flaws and they keep making decisions and you're like, no, why would you say that? And it's almost like excruciating to read them do that, or in a movie to watch them do that. But here, because it's a game, I feel a certain disconnect to the game because I'm supposed to be Hiseo. Do you feel that? Or did you just feel like the transition ended up feeling fine?
I don't. I guess I'm identifying with Hiseo exactly as I would in a novel, and then when the choices come up, it's literally just. I don't consider the role playing. I just consider trying to go for a specific ending. So I don't know what I'm going to do now, because I had basically thought of it as a game of you pick the girl you want to try and hook him up with, and then you try to steer in that direction.
Well, so now there's a good ending, bad ending. So that's now you're trying to get towards the good ending, as opposed to, I don't know what the bad ending is. I actually, it's probably you die of a heart attack.
See if I can open it up.
Should we do this? Should we dive into the cheat sheets, or?
I have a couple good ones if we want to look at them.
Well,
I can show you just.
Should we?
Let me. Well, it's going to be different than what you think, Bill. Here we go. So here is a.
Oh my God.
Here's me using it in a browser. So here's the decision tree, but like if I zoom.
Spoilers.
Like you actually see that there's like so much stuff. Here's the intro and like all the decisions that go through it, and this is like the left side for Hanako, and here's the right side for Rin. And like, for instance, here is for me to travel from let's see here. For me to travel for this thing for Emi, go for it to go with Emi, I had to go through this part where those two annoying girls were trying to compel me to tell them why I went to the nurse. And I kept saying, no, I don't want to talk with it. If I said sure was having fun, then I die. I almost clicked that because I hated them so much. But fortunately, I went to go eat with Emi. This whole arc from here to get to there, this was like an hour and a half of game time.
Jeez.
And apparently, like, here's Act 2, Emi's story arc. And there's like, there's exactly one decision point.
Yeah.
And they both lead to the same place?
And here's some death that happens, and then here's the bad ending, here's a good ending.
So this is good for like seeing how it branches, but Bill, honestly, as a game designer, I put a link in the chat. I don't know, Sean, if you want to pull that up, but there's another version of the map that doesn't look as impressive, but I actually found much more useful for understanding what the hell's going on.
Yeah, let me bring this bad boy up. Let's do this.
So it looks much more linear, but it's color coded, and you can see every diamond decision that you make has a color.
Yeah.
And when you get down to the bottom of this is all for Act 1. If you get down to the bottom of Act 1, you can see that there's 7 different color-coded endings based on essentially what color did you pick the most of as you went through.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And one of the things that was interesting for when I ultimately went for Lily, because that's what I ended up doing, you have to pursue Hanako pretty aggressively in order to get to that final branch, that SIP Part 2. Hanako and Lily are exactly the same up until you get there, and then you get one decision about, are you interested in Hanako or Lily?
Huh.
Oh. I don't really understand how the system... I don't understand how the system works based on this diagram, right straight up.
So okay, it's basically the first time I went through, I got a bunch of the blue chasing after Shizuke. I said that wrong. What was it? What's her name? Shizune.
Yeah.
And then I flip-flopped and did a bunch of orange. And along the way, I did some gray because I didn't want to make either choice, essentially. And it boiled down to I got the gray ending.
The deep end.
The deep end.
Kenji?
Which was terrible. Yeah, you get drunk with Kenji. He takes you up onto the roof and gives you like a handle of Jack Daniels, and you die. And so the second time I went through, I was like, okay, well, I want to get to this yellow, and the yellow comes from orange, so I'm just going to make all of the orange decisions.
Oh, okay.
And it's frankly weird to play that way because it turns into it's not decision making. I mean, obviously you could play it several times without looking at the map and sort of mentally build the map yourself. I think that's what's intended, but for me, that sounds insane. After I play it the first time, I'm going to look at the map. And once you look at the map, and once you sort of say, I want to achieve a particular end, rather than, role-playing it, it's no longer about making these decisions. It's about, picking the path that takes you to the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, I find kind of weird. It's a way of... The game feels, in a lot of ways, like taking 7 different stories, or 6 different stories, really, and compressing them into one artifact. And there's kind of a code that you need to input in order to extract one of those 6 stories.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels very, very, very far from simulation to me. It feels very far from me actually, acting. It feels much more like sort of inputting a sequence of digits. Or
Yeah. Well, it's almost sinister how so much of it relies on such minor sort of, narratively unconnected choices.
Yeah, it was really weird for me actually just then. I was coming back and I was talking about actually this story arc right here, where here it says slow recovery. This is a difficult to get to scene. So what happens is I was hanging out with Emmy here, and I ran too hard, and this is where I had like the heart attack almost moment. So I go to the nurse's office, and because I had really interested Shizune and Misha, they try to press really hard to ask me what's wrong. And one of the choices, or I basically say no, 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 no. And then there's a decision moment where she asks a final time, and I can say, oh yeah, I was sure having fun in the nurse's office. And the other option, which apparently took me here, which is I don't want to talk about it. And I literally hated Shizune so much at that point that I was like, I'm not going to tell her anything. I want to cut her out of my life. But the other option didn't seem that different either. But apparently it leads to death. I apparently die if that happens. I don't know, like rage at her and my heart kicks up again and I drop dead. I don't know. I'm not going to know, but it does kind of... It stinks a little bit to not quite know to not actually feel that agency, to feel like I have any control over the ship. It's not like a mast where if I'll turn a little bit and I'm going to go left a little bit. If I turn it right a lot, I'm going to go right a lot. It's like there's a button and I push it and I'm like, guys, we're incidentally going north by northwest now. I hope it's land.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels about right.
It's like a really compelling, fun thing to play. I know all the characters really well. To the point where I have strong emotions about most of the characters. Some of which are negative. I hate me in the story. I hate Shizune. I hate Shizune, man. No wonder no one likes her. Poor Misha. Has to put up with that all day. Ugh.
Maybe you should try the Shizune route and see if there's something redeeming.
Yeah, honestly, that would probably be really interesting too.
There's so much writing in this, man. There's so much content.
Well, and it's so good from a narrative perspective. I mean, you know, the writing is really, really excellent. I mean, I don't know. I guess I got to kind of put that in context. If this was a novel, like if I literally sat down to read a novel and it was this, I think it would drive me kind of nuts. It would feel
Oddly paced.
It would feel, I mean, and it would feel sort of really low level, especially with how the main character demands an explanation for all of the subtext is really honestly kind of weird. But at least in this context, I'm more accepting of it, of sort of the level of prose to it. And I think the pacing, in a game form at least, is excellent. And the characters are really well rendered, at least compared to any game, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
And it's
I agree.
That, like, it's a format that you can't really work anywhere else except for in a game.
Yeah.
Like not in any linear setting, rarely ever will they have, like you said, an Act 1 whose sole purpose is to introduce everyone to the point where, well, from a game perspective, the whole point of Act 1 is to introduce you, the player, into to all the possible people, all possible romances, and more importantly, to introduce what your mindset is, and to give you that feeling, like we talked about so much in the last episode of MetaDating. How it really did a good job of like putting you in the protagonist's shoes.
All right, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How would you feel about this? How would you feel differently, or would you feel differently if instead of a game, this was a set of 6 novellas that was published in like an anthology?
Well, I mean, the first part again would be I'd be like, why is there this whole first segment where I'm seeing Hiseo interacting with people? Like that literally can't exist anywhere else but like an interactive setting and not completely out of place.
Well, you
Okay,
could have
but
have one book. You could have one book at the front that's the intro book, and then the other books are the sort of choice at the end of Act 1.
Different alternate realities.
The other books are acts, you know. The other books are acts 2 through 4.
I feel like I would have a pretty equivalent feel of it. There are some really nice touches where they have images and some color, and there's things where you can like interrupt.
Yeah.
Get interrupted, but I think by and large it would kind of feel the same.
Yeah, I actually am thinking that when I go back and play a different route, using the auto skip option, I'm actually concerned that I'm gonna forget some stuff and it's kind of changed the experience quite a bit to like skip over a lot of the stuff instead of reading it in line.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. I mean, okay, so there's one kind of ontology about games that splits up into narrative, game, and simulation. Right? Every kind of interactive experience has narrative, gamic, and simulationist components, and I think
that's interesting. Where did you read about that, or where can I read about that?
This is part of my thesis research. I'll send you a link, Bill.
Okay. Because I've heard about ludologists and narratologists, but where does simulation fall in there?
So simulation is it's been a while since I read this stuff, but as I understand it, the narrative is the storytelling, right? Mm-hmm. Just kind of flat out.
Yep.
The simulation is the computer sort of created world. The having things play out in some kind of physics that happens on the computer side, and the gamic is the pseudo-social engagement, the magic circle stuff, the rituals and rules, the mechanics, the actions that you take as a player in a very sort of literal sense.
Okay, so that makes more sense for like I mean, I can see how you'd figure out the. Well, okay, so like some simple board games, there's going to be no difference between the gamic and the simulation, right?
Right. Yeah. In a board game, you know what? Actually, honestly, I forgot the context for this. This is an ontology of tabletop role-playing games specifically, but I think about it in a larger context in terms of interactive design generally. And a lot of the simulation stuff makes the most sense in a computer environment. I think you're exactly right about that. What's interesting about this is that it's like totally narrative. I mean,
that's like a really unusual skew.
Yeah.
There's no simulation. I mean,
and there's very little game.
Yep.
I'm actually trying to think of, because even in probably the closest other gaming experience I've had to this would be Walking Dead, the Telltale Walking Dead games.
Interesting.
But I mean, I'm trying to think of anything that has that much of a bent to it, because frankly, even Walking Dead has a considerably larger gamic element to it.
It's got a lot of game.
Well, there's and this is interesting. I think the lack of gamic elements and the lack of simulation points to and goes hand in hand with the fact that there's like you have no chance of establishing cause and effect based on experimentation in this game. Even Chooser and adventure books, you could get some. I mean, you could reasonably expect certain things to happen given certain choices, but not always. I mean, sometimes it's just you eat the hamburger and you die. It's like it gets wacky. Yeah.
I feel like this is the purest incarnation of an explorable narrative space.
Because it's totally, your choices are so abstract.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to predict, but it's very clear when you have a choice.
Right.
They go out of their way to make it very clear that, like, here is a decision point, and we're going to make it easy for you to come back this same path and get to this decision point and go the other direction. And it's like exploring a landscape without a mini-map, without GPS. Right. It's there's no real way to predict if I go left or right what I'm going to find.
Right, hence the exploration.
But I can feel like I can completely map the space as long as I just, follow the path and go every different possible route. I'll see everything there is to see. And I feel like, that's really what the goal is in this. And if that is the goal, then I think they accomplish it very well. But for somebody who's not used to this kind of culture, this kind of tradition, somebody who's used to a more gamic or simulationist tradition,
I want to min-max. I want to I want to get like 4 of the 6 good endings in my first playthrough.
Well, and like you guys, like coming from where U.S. narrative stuff is, or I guess is it North American, anyways, right? BioWare. Wait, where's BioWare from?
North America. It's
Okay,
mostly
yeah.
Canadian.
Because BioWare might have even put it in a color-coded scheme, or some sort of, each girl is represented, each girl's choice is represented on a wheel in the same location each time, so that you can figure out where you're going. I mean, what if every like response was color-coded that showed you what direction it would take you, like showed you which girl this would lead you toward? I mean, that would be a totally different experience.
So, really, can we explore that for a second? How would that be a different experience, Bill? How would you feel about that?
Well, honestly, I feel like BioWare does a weird mix of that already. I don't say a weird mix, but like a somewhat hit already, where, you play Mass Effect, and the right option is always almost always the good one. The bottom right option is almost always the negative one. And then all the ones on the left side of the dial are the sort of...
They're information gathering.
Yeah.
They're asking for follow-up questions. No, I mean, they absolutely do that. I actually saw one of the story designers, or I forget what their title is, talk at GDC one year about that, about the conversation wheel and how that was designed and what their sort of...
But they also combine it with decisions that don't really have much to do with the conversation wheel. Like do you want to go down path A or path B? And it's very clear what path you're going down and that it will have influence. I'm trying not to spoil, but
Sure.
Screw it. Okay, when it's like one of these people is going to die. Is it going to be A or B?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, I clearly know there's no good or evil choice. It's just one of these people is going to die. Or there's paths you can go down where characters will get killed, or you're like get in with characters more. So it's a weird combination of like the Paragon good evil side versus the maneuvering down the decision tree side. But in those, I still feel the influence I'm having, and I like that. And I feel like here, if it were color coded, then I actually still feel like I just would not have that much more decisionness out of it. I actually think that the fact that it is not color-coded helps you stay focused on the narrative. It helps leave it ambiguous, and it prevents... The color coding would be a reminder, oh, hey, by the way, you're playing a game. What kind of game are you in the mood for? I really prefer that. Like that's really interesting to me to find out that I could have died. I didn't even know that was close to happening, and I don't think it benefits me or makes my gameplay experience better to have known that.
Yeah. I mean, think about how different this would be if there was a spatial element to it, like Hotel Dusk. If you could walk around a space and then have these narrative things happen. I mean, that would like really take you out of the narrative. Or if there was like, a clue board where you're walking from room to room, that would be much more gamey, but much less narrative-y.
Depends how you do it. Actually, 999 is this exact same style of narrative, but it also throws in sort of puzzle moments. And frankly, the puzzle moments don't... I mean, they distract you from the narrative in the literal sense that for the next 20 minutes we're going to do some puzzles instead of narrative. But
we're going to do some puzzles.
It's so funny. It's like there are so many games that struggle with having like two diametrically opposed sets of mechanics. Like, did you ever see the Sonic Unleashed game?
No.
There's levels of the most absolutely amazing, picture-perfect racing in 3 dimensions that you'll ever see, and then when you're done, you become a dark warthog or something, and you battle enemies in a beat-em-up style. And then after that, then you can do a fast level, and it's literally like A+ levels followed by D+ levels. And because they're like completely opposing, it's like just do the racing. So I kind of have a lot of appreciation for, like you were saying, Sean, about having this like really focused thing. We don't want to have puzzles and narrative, and you just get rewarded with narrative for having to endure the puzzles. Unless I'm literally receiving levels for my grinding.
Dude, you're reminding me with this of, again, Mass Effect. Because, let me tell you, I finally sat down and was like, I'm going to play Mass Effect, starting with the first one, because I've never done that. And I played up until the the second battle sequence. I died 3 times in a row, and I was like, delete. I'm done. Done skis.
The battle's hard in that game to get
Exactly, and I didn't want it to be. I didn't want a hard battle. I didn't want something that was... Like, if I want hard fighting, I'll play Super Meat Boy, you know?
Well, and the learning curve on the first one is really... the difficulty curve is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Like that's not well done. That's not smooth.
Yeah. I just have never found... this is the thing. In any game, I don't think I've ever found a narrative that's worth fighting for. Except maybe Myst.
That is like the quintuplest entrante I've ever heard. That's amazing.
So I have a very different experience, Bill, where I play Mass Effect, I play Dragon Age for the narrative. That's the part that I'm interested in.
Oh, me too, but I quit Mass Effect. It was beyond my threshold of tolerability.
Well, and I can understand. That's a matter of degrees, really. But for me, I appreciate having a break every once in a while. Like I like that. Dragon Age turns into a dungeon crawler for a little bit, and then I go back to dialogue trees. I feel like it's to its benefit for me as a player having the experience. I feel like having the narrative broken up like that benefits the game. And there's something... I enjoyed this. I thought the production values were great. I thought the writing was really good. I got sucked into it. I liked the characters. But it still felt a little bit like a chore to sit down and play it.
It needs to... You know what it needs to be on? It needs to be on an iPad mini. And it needs to be full screens of text, so I don't have to keep clicking. And then I can play it, and I can read it on the train, and that's it, man. But it's the fact that it's tied to my desktop computer means I have to buckle in and do nothing else, you know?
It's my favorite thing to do.
Just buckle it in.
As the conclusion of our longest ever episode of MetaDating, I'd just like to ask if either of you have any final thoughts?
Oh, God, I thought I did. Somebody else go first, maybe. Oh, wait, no. Wait, I'm sorry, I just thought of it. Yes, no. I want to redeem... I found the opposite of what I said. I said that there was no narrative that I've found that's worth fighting for. There has been a game where I enjoyed the gameplay, but had to quit because the narrative was so awful, and that was Borderlands. Couldn't deal with it. Couldn't deal with the characters. Just made me feel stupid for playing it. So yes, narrative is very important because if you screw it up, it makes your game terrible, which means that if you do it well, it'll probably also make your game really good.
I don't know that you can actually draw that conclusion, but...
It's the law of opposites. it's the conducive properties. It's the conjunctivitis property.
So just to wrap up, I think it's fascinating that we played this entire session, this entire episode. There was literally no interaction in the game.
Yeah, it was just reading. It was reading with Bill and the Shawns. Next Christmas we'll do Christmas Carol.
And I had fun. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. But I think it's that's a noteworthy kind of observation about.
Yeah, well, it would have been so different if we had not been in some way anticipating the possibility of a choice as well.
No, that's true. That's true. I think it would work differently as novellas. I'm just not 100% sure how exactly.
Well, you've got a printer, and there's a Kinko's. Somebody's got to have transcribed this, dude.
And like literally just make these bound volumes. Oh, that would be epic. Such a page turn.
You'd sell them on Lulu.
Even better. Dude, even better. You know what the perfect format for this would be? Is a book, an interactive novel that's on paper, where you can somehow like use some clever physical system to like, tally the, I don't know what, but it should amazingly read and be different every time, and some amazing paper artist has to do this.
Yeah, dude, seriously, if anyone's out there, send us copies of your finished work. We're ready. And with that, I want to note that the game we're going to be doing next month is going to be drastically different than anything we've done before. It is going to be, I want to make sure that I say it in order correctly, Sims 3 Late Night, where we were literally stepping into the extreme opposite end in terms of simulation, where we will be straight up taking our Sims out on the town trying to find true love. Are going to find out all the way in which we three will do this similarly or not so similarly, as we're going to be doing some, hopefully, disjointed playthroughs of it and laughing at ourselves. So without any further ado, I'm Sean.
And I'm Bill Grainer.
Also Sean.
And, oh yeah, I forgot to say my last name. All right, we're going to do the ending one more time. I'm Sean Plott.
And I'm Bill Grainer.
And I'm Sean Bouchard.
Thank you for watching MetaDating. We'll see you next month. Cheers.